This is Moon Knight, a mercenary turned vengeful avatar of an ancient Egyptian god turned TV producer turned crime fighter turned, you get the picture. And now he's about to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Welcome to Explainiac. I'm Dan Casey, and today we're diving deep into the weird, wild comic book history of Moon Knight. Marvel Studios head honcho Kevin Feige announced at this year's D23 Expo that a Moon Knight television series is in development for the Disney Plus streaming service, which prompted many to ask, who? And this time the answer isn't Star-Lord. Moon Knight's essentially Batman if he wore an outfit that's much harder to safely drink red wine in, and were more upfront about his mental illness. Created by Doug Munch and Don Perlin in 1975's Werewolf by Night number 32, Moon Knight was originally a villain meant to battle Jack Russell, Marvel's titular Werewolf by Night. In his first appearance, Moon Knight sounded like an absolute badass. Hired by the shadowy committee, he was described as a, quote, soldier of fortune, mercenary, veteran of 3 African wars, 5 South American revolutions, brief flirtation with the CIA, weapons expert, versatile practitioner of all the martial arts, ex-prize fighter, Marine commando for 8 years prior to beating a lieutenant within an inch of his life, etc. And what was the going rate for werewolf hunting back in 1975, you ask? Well, apparently a measly $10,000. Talk about economic malaise, am I right? Where are my Jimmy Carter fans at? No wonder this dude turned into a straight-up meme about shaking down Dracula. He just wants to get paid, and his day rate apparently chugs ass. However, if you adjust for inflation, I will say, that is $47,687.36 in 2019 bucks, so maybe, and just maybe, it's not quite such a bad deal after all for our silver-armored friend. Along with his cartoonishly French sidekick named, you guessed it, Frenchie, because Baguette Jones was apparently taken by DC, Moon Knight eventually teamed up with Jack Russell to take out the committee when he realized they just wanted to use this werewolf for evil. Oh my god. Really? With a name like The Committee? Who could have guessed they had bad plans for this mythical beast? I love comics. While Moon Knight appeared on and off throughout the mid to late 70s, it wasn't until 1980 that he received his own ongoing series from Doug Munch and Bill Sienkiewicz. His origins changed a bit over the years, but the core elements have remained the same. He's an extremely wealthy, masked, cape-wearing vigilante with state-of-the-art technology, dissociative identity disorder, and an obsession with stalking the night to defeat criminals. Sound familiar? He's not that guy. Before he was Moon Knight, though, he was Mark Spector, the Chicago-born son of a rabbi. During his adolescence, Spector discovered that his family friend, the Rabbi Yitz Perlman, was secretly a former Nazi and a serial killer, which, well, it's honestly the worst bar mitzvah present you can get. When the two tussled, Mark managed to escape, but the experience left him deeply traumatized, and he later developed dissociative identity disorder. It's a condition that can cause one's mind to splinter into multiple distinct personalities. Now, this explanation for Spector's mental illness was added in by writer Max Bemis, but it's worth noting that the origins of his DID are constantly shifting and changing depending on the comic's creative team. As an adult, Mark Spector was briefly a boxer before he enlisted with the Marines, ultimately washing out and getting discharged. After a stint with the CIA doing mercenary work, Spector fell in with French pilot Jean-Paul Duchamp, the aforementioned Frenchie, and the two became soldiers for hire. Oh, you there, soldier. Can I pay you some money to murder people? Oh, yes you can, sir. Oh, thank you, sir. That's what I imagine their dealing is like. I don't know. I can't afford one. While Spector and Frenchie worked for the murderous mercenary leader Raoul Bushman, or as I like to call him, Bushman, they discovered an archaeological dig site in Egypt, which Bushman wanted to plunder for its Egypt gold. Oh, the pharaoh's treasure. That was like a tiny, I don't know, a sarcophagus, I guess, or treasure chest? You be the judge. When archaeologist Peter Alaroon, or Alarune, I don't know how to pronounce it, I've only ever read his name. Sorry, this is going off the rails. When archaeologist Peter Alaroon tried to stop Bushman from taking his discoveries, Bushman did what any one of us would do. He used his sweet steel chompers to bite out the dude's throat. And not only that, but Bushman set up a firing squad, then systematically executed all of the people working on the dig site. Spector managed to help Peter's daughter Marlene to escape though, and he had a real That Mitchell and Webb look moment after that. Are we the baddies? You seen that sketch? It's great. Being the murderous jagoff that he is, Bushman slugged Spector in the face and left him for dead in the desert. Spectre staggered his way to the tomb the Alaroons were investigating before dropping dead. Marlene and the villagers laid his body in front of the idol of Khonshu, an Egyptian god of the moon and vengeance who protected those who travel by night. To the surprise of literally no one who has ever read a comic book, Mark Spector awoke to find that he wasn't dead at all, but rather he'd been resurrected by Khonshu and blessed with superhuman abilities in exchange for his servitude. Spectre, wrapping himself in Khonshu's white shroud, proceeded to open up a can of Egyptian whoop-ass on a bunch of Bushman's goons, but old Bushman himself, well, he escaped to chomp another throat another day. Filled with a renewed purpose in life, Mark Spector moved to New York with Frenchie as his own personal helicopter pilot and Marlene as his own personal confidant and lover. He began fighting crime as Moon Knight and developed 2 additional personas to aid him in his quest: Stephen Grant, the millionaire Wall Street financier who funded the operation with his fortunes, and Jake Lockley, the street-smart cab driver who had a network of informants to gather the info about bad guys. Over time, though, Moon Knight kinda got lost in the sauce of his own personas, losing his sense of self and growing increasingly erratic as he devoted himself more to fighting crime as Moon Knight than to his own mental and physical well-being. Mental breakdowns, strained relationships, and having an unhealthy relationship in particular with the spirit of an ancient Egyptian god, they all kept Mark Spector in this vicious cycle where he'd push people like Frenchie and Marlene, who genuinely cared about him, away. Besides, who needs friends when you've got a truncheon that lets you lay the smackdown on evildoers? You've got moonarangs that can slice and dice your way through the competition. Oh, you got this sick cape, serves like a hang glider. Oh, you have a driverless moonmobile and like a mooncopter, whatever else dumbass moon vehicle you call it. And you've got a whole slew of other high-tech gadgets. I don't know, sounds like a pretty sweet deal. Oh, did I mention he also has a suit of armor that lets him beat the shit out of ghosts? Because he has a suit of armor that lets him beat the shit out of ghosts. Who you gonna call? Fucking Moon Knight. But sometimes, even Moon Knight needs a helping hand, like when he's trying to prevent his brother Randall, who'd been assumed dead, from trying to usurp his powers as the Shadow Knight, which may or may not be my old DeviantArt account. That's when you call in the Punisher to help you. Old Frank Castle on the job. Shoot your brother dead. Other times, Moon Knight is the one lending a helping hand, like when he joined the West Coast Avengers after their members were sent back in time to ancient Egypt. Another time, he aided Doctor Strange and a host of supernatural and magical heroes known as the Midnight Suns to fight Mephisto and his forces in Las Vegas. I know it kind of sounds like this Hangover movie that never got made, but hey, actually, hold on. Hello, Kevin Feige? I've got a great goddamn idea. Oh, he hung up. During one particularly despised period in Moon Knight's history, he moved to LA to be a television producer and fought crime as the one-man Avenger. His personalities manifested themselves as Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Captain America, and then he would shift into those heroes' personalities in battle. It was about as weird as it sounds, but mostly, when it comes to fighting the likes of archenemies like Bushman, his brother Randall, the Black Spectre, Midnight Man, and whomever else is unlucky enough to stand in his way, Moon Knight usually goes it alone in his signature white suit. People will always remind Mooney that wearing all white makes it easier for criminals to see him coming, to which he replies, good, he likes it that way. Now, as for the Disney Plus series, it's difficult to say how they're gonna remix and adapt the many decades of Moon Knight stories that are out there, and we actually have a few theories on a recent episode of Nerdist News, but I'm gonna go ahead and reassert my vote for the Warren Ellis, Declan Shalvey, and Jordi Belair run from 2014. During those amazing 6 issues, you really get a sense of what makes Moon Knight tick, and some truly haunting stories that would feel right at home in like a season of Hannibal, which if you ever saw that show, you know is high praise indeed. But in the meantime, tell me, what's your favorite Moon Knight story? What do you hope to see from the upcoming Disney Plus series? And who should play Moon Knight? My money's on Jack Reynor. Did you see Midsommar? He is excellent in that. Anyway, let me know in the comments below and give me a thumbs up while you're there. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy what you saw, please like and share this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that little notification bell so you never miss a new episode. If you want even more deep dives into comic book history, please check out the past Explainiac episodes right now wherever fine Nerdist content is streamed. And if you have ideas for future episodes of Explainiac, please tweet them to me directly at Dan Casey or leave them in the comments below. This is an evolving process and I want you to be a part of it. Remember, not everything in life can be explained, but for everything else, there's this show.